You're now tuned into the fourth season of Atypical Voices in Our Time, the official podcast of Chemistry Productions, a media education company. Let's get it started.
That's AVIOT.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Jay Stokes of the AVIOT podcast. Welcome back to another great episode. We have some nice topics for y'all today, so I hope that you enjoy the show. We'll start today's episode by talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So you may know him from many big blockbuster films. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, at this point, he's an action star. You know him from the Fast and Furious franchise. You know him from Jumanji. He plays typically the same character, a musclehead who is protecting his family or who's protecting his group, and it ends up being a big box office film and everyone loves it. And at the end of the day, he walks home with a whole boatload of money. That's that. But it seems that Dwayne Johnson, he wants to pivot. He wants to pivot in his career. So he's going to be portraying in a movie that's set to come out, I believe, October 3rd, sometime in October of this year, MMA and UFC fighter Mark Kerr in this boxing movie called The Smashing Machine. So The Smashing Machine, it marks a dramatic turn in the boxing career of Mark Kerr. And Kerr was the subject of a 2002 HBO documentary that chronicled his substance abuse and explored the brutality of the sport of boxing and fighting. So this is definitely a big departure for Dwayne Johnson, going from these big blockbuster films where he's earning a bunch of money to taking more of a serious role. And it's interesting because you see how much he values his acting career, going from a wrestler who is known for his one-liners, "Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?" I think that's whatever he used to say, the raised eyebrow that he'd always do. And now he pivots into acting, does these big blockbuster films, action films, and now he's going into a more serious role. A lot of people are also commenting on him losing weight because if you actually look, he looks smaller. I know he's been a big muscle head, but he actually looks smaller in recent pictures where he's been debuting this film. So I actually have a quote that I wrote down from what Dwayne Johnson had said. He said, "When you're in Hollywood, as we all know, it had to become about box office. And it can be very resounding and it can push you in a category and into a corner." So I guess he's saying, no longer do I want to just make money. No longer do I just want to be the action star. I want to be a serious actor who can win Academy Awards, who can win an Oscar. It's a cool pivot just to see from where he came from to where he is going. So The Smashing Machine, I'm sure it's going to get a lot of good reviews. I'm sure that a lot of people are really going to love to see him in a new light. I'm really interested to see how he acts because in all the movies I've seen with him in it thus far, he usually plays the same character. I remember there's this Christmas film that I'd seen him in recently, and he once again played the same character. I believe he was supposed to be an elf in that movie, but he was like a big elf. It was really weird. Let me see. Christmas movie with Dwayne Johnson. When I type it in, it's going to come up Red One. That's what it was, Red One. And he plays Column Drift, and I believe he's an elf or he's somewhere along the lines of that. But I was underwhelmed by this movie. Honestly, I thought it was going to be better than what it was. And obviously, when you are looking at an action-packed Christmas film, you know, it could be a hit or a miss. You have some action-packed Christmas films that are cool. Others, you forget about them.
That's correct.
But hey, I wish Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson the best with his acting career. I hope that this pivot he finds satisfying, and I might actually check out The Smashing Machine. I might actually do so. Yeah. So speaking of pivots in careers, I want to speak about Young Thug. So as you all may know, anyone who's been following this Young Thug RICO case, RICO stands for Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations. So that's pretty much saying that it's illegal to be in organized crime and do a lot of unlawful behaviors in the United States. So Young Thug, he was arrested and he had a trial that lasted almost 2 years. I believe online it says that it's the longest in Georgia history, the longest trial in Georgia history. So the jury was selected for this trial that revolved around his Young Stoner Life group, or YSL group. And the jury was selected in 2023, and he had a plea deal on October 31st of 2024. And Young Thug pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including a violation of the Georgia RICO Act in his YSL RICO case in October 2024, receiving 15 years of probation. So, as part of his plea, he must stay out of the metro Atlanta area for 10 years and make anti violence presentations. I mean, this is something that is mind boggling to begin with, that we really have to make it so that rappers are doing things that don't promote violence because their music promotes violence. And I think that's indicative of a bigger problem
Yes.
as it is. So, anyways, the main purpose of me mentioning this is because it seems Young Thug hasn't learned from his ways. He still is in the news talking about who was snitching on him during his trial, how much he doesn't like snitches. One of the biggest strained relationships was with him and another member of his YSL group, Gunna Wanna. He's a rapper slash singer, and the whole talk about Gunna was that he had snitched during the Young Thug trial because he could have been incarcerated for a long period of time too, and he ended up escaping the clutches of the law. And so Young Thug was really big on, oh, you snitched. I didn't like all that stuff. And now it turns out that Young Thug might have snitched himself while he was in custody. So basically, a clip was circulating through social media, allegedly featuring Thug name dropping another music artist, rapper, what have you, by the name of Pee Wee Roscoe while speaking to authorities. So he was talking about this person, Pee Wee Roscoe. Pee Wee Roscoe was reportedly or allegedly, I'm not trying to get my facts all the way messed up, but reportedly, allegedly, he had shot at Lil Wayne's tour bus back in, I believe, 2015. So I guess he was involved in all this RICO stuff, all this crime, anti-legal, not legal activity back in the day. And so basically the clip allegedly shows, or it's an audio clip of Young Thug name dropping Pee Wee Roscoe, but Pee Wee Roscoe has taken up for him saying, oh no, Young Thug didn't snitch, but you have other people saying, yeah, Young Thug is a snitch. Here's my thing. When it comes to the streets, ain't nobody loyal. No one is loyal. People are going to do anything to make sure that they are fine. They don't care if they throw you under the bus, even if they did crimes with you. And another thing I need to clear up, when it comes to this term snitching is not just telling the truth of your asked information. Snitching involved if me and you both did a crime and then I get caught and I say, oh, well, that person did the crime with me. That's snitching. As opposed to if I see a robbery and then the police come to me and say, oh, do you know the robber? And I say something, that's not snitching because I ain't had nothing to do with that. Why are you robbing people? Okay. But going back to my main point, the streets are not loyal. So when we are out here talking about, oh, well, street code, oh, I'm from the streets will chew you up and spit you out. As we see with Young Thug, I believe he probably said some things to authorities in order to get out of prison, to get out of his jail time. I believe so. Because ain't nobody loyal.
Nope.
What was crazy was I saw on Threads today, there was a clip circulating. Somebody went to a Mariah the Scientist concert. Now, Mariah the Scientist is she has said she is dating Young Thug. I think they've made their relationship pretty public. And so this person was at the Mariah the Scientist concert or wherever she was singing at, and he had on his phone text that said Young Thug is a rat. And I think she saw it and then she pointed at the text that the guy had put up on his phone. My thing is, like, why are you putting so much energy into it? That don't got nothing to do with you. So what? Yeah, if Young Thug is a rat, what that got to do with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really honor and respect this whole street code that much? Because, I mean, truth be told, if you were in the same situation, you probably would have ratted on someone. You probably would have snitched on someone. I think some people, they have this a lot of people have a parasocial relationship when it comes to celebrities, public figures, and these people don't care about you. You think they care about you because you consume their music, you consume their art, you watch their movies, but they don't care about you. They care about the money that you can provide them. As long as you keep supporting them, they're thankful. But if you're not supporting them, nah, they don't got nothing to do with you. Even if they saw you walking down the street, they probably would ignore you. So you don't need to put that much energy into it. And then you had a Mariah the Scientist concert. Did you pay money to come in there just to show her that message? If so, then that's very foolish. I think you should reconsider your life choices. If you're listening to the AVIOT podcast on a streaming service, make sure to leave a rating and a review so we can grow our platform. My goodness. Sticking with the rap game, I need to speak about Aubrey Drake Graham. Oh, Aubrey, always finding a way to be in the news, to be in the media. So recently, he did an interview with this woman by the name of Bobby Althoff, Althoff. I didn't learn how to pronounce her name before this. That's Bobby Althoff. That's probably not how you pronounce the name. But anyway, so he did an interview with her. I know they've had a little bit of contention in the past because I believe Aubrey did an interview with Bobby, and then there was a copyright claim over music that she had featured in the video. So, but it seems they've made up. And pretty much in this interview that has now surfaced, he is denying claims of being a culture vulture.
Oh, you're a culture vulture, or like you like people will describe the collaborative efforts that I've put forth and the artists that I've picked up and lifted up or shine a light on as me taking, they'll put a negative spin on it and try and tell me, that it's a self-serving thing or whatever. And I think I get really sensitive about that. And I think at that moment I was just like, well, you know what? Then don't even worry about it.
Here's the thing. Aubrey is a culture vulture. Okay. I remember I got into a debate with my brother-in-law not too long ago. No. Actually, was it a year ago? Might have been a year. No, 2 years ago. I got into a debate with my brother-in-law. No, it wasn't 2 years ago. It was a year ago. And we were talking about Aubrey being a culture vulture. And my brother-in-law was saying, no, Aubrey just appreciates other cultures. And I said, why, even if he appreciates other cultures, why is it that when he steps into another culture, he tries to adopt their behaviors and attitudes and then make money off of it in his music? So then my brother-in-law said, well, he also features other artists of that culture in his music. I'm like, no, he is trying to profit off of these people, and he feels that a way to do so is to hop on a song with an artist of that culture. Okay, so here's an example. Hip hop culture in America, right? There's a point in time where he was rolling around with Rick Ross and what's that boy name? He's irrelevant. But he was rolling around with Rick Ross and his crew. And so he was trying to act like he was a thug. He was so hood and all that, right? And he's adopting that culture, that aspect of hip hop culture over there, because that's, being hood is not synonymous with hip hop culture. That's just an area of hip hop culture where people love to fake like they're hood or they might be from the hood. And so he's acting like he's hood and he's this tough guy. We know Aubrey's not a tough guy. We could see that by this lawsuit that he has against UMG, Universal Music Group, and he's trying to drag Kendrick Lamar in there right now. We know he's not a tough guy.
No.
But he adopts that. He goes over to the UK. Then he starts using his UK accent. He's making money off his music there, right? He goes, tries to get into the Afrobeat space. He goes, tries to get into the Jamaican space, the West Indian space. And he adopts these accents. He makes money off of his music. One dance, he's trying to sound West Indian. He's not doing a good job at it. But he's adopting all of these different cultural sounds and everything and tries to put into his music and then makes money off of it. There's a thing, I remember there was a video breakdown talking about how he looks at the next up and coming artist and then tries to latch onto that up and coming artist in whatever lane they're in order to profit off of that. That is textbook definition of a culture vulture. You are picking at their culture in order to make a buck. You can appreciate someone's culture by hopping on another song, but keeping your regular accent, your regular voice. That's cultural appreciation. But when you try to adopt their voice, when you try to mimic their style, when you try to dress like them, walk like them, talk like them, that is appropriation at its finest, especially when you're making money off of it. So, no. Despite Aubrey's claims that he's not a culture vulture or that he's appreciating other forms of art, that's not the truth. You can appreciate other forms of art without making money off of it. You're trying to make a profit. I ain't with it. Definitely not with it. Nah. Speaking of culture vulture, I gotta go into this arena. I know I've touched on it in previous podcasts, this whole idea of inviting people to the cookout as black folk, and we got to stop doing that. Travis Kelce recently proposed to Taylor Swift. Everyone's so happy about it, but there are people pointing out, even white people too, saying it's interesting how he has a dating history of being with all these black women and trying to dance like black folk, had the haircut like how black men would have their line up and everything like that. And then you get with Taylor Swift and you just abandon all of that and you move on with your life. That to me is peak culture vulture. Yeah, black people that love Travis Kelce with whatever sister he was with, and they're like, oh yeah, white chocolate, yeah, he's so down to earth. Nah, he was trying on your culture like a costume, and they took it off and went back to default settings, like people say online. I'm not with it. Black people, we gotta stop being so accepting. Well, let me rephrase that. We can accept people for who they are, but when people are trying to act like us, we need to cut that out. Be like, no, be yourself. Do not try to mimic us, because what happens is you profit off of it and then you abandon us. Case in point, Post Malone. Post Malone comes out, breakout song, White Iverson. Funny enough, my brother-in-law helped produce that song, but that's a story for another day. He comes out with White Iverson and then he gets the braids in his hair. And people are like, oh yeah, Post Malone, he starts doing songs with hip hop artists, continues down that path, makes a big name for himself. Then he ventures off into another genre of music saying that rap or hip hop, you can't really get inspired off of that music.
Wow.
Really? Miley Cyrus shakes her behind a little bit. People say she twerking, and then she does songs with Mike Will Made It. She goes, hangs out with the hip hop bros, has herself a grand old time, comes out with Bangers, which is a big album for her. Then she pivots and goes back to country, the genre that she started off with. And she talking smack about hip hop, talking smack about rap artists, saying how she felt uncomfortable. Travis Kelce, can you believe there was an article talking about him making the fade a thing?
What?
They're like, oh, what's this Travis Kelce haircut? A fade? A regular fade that black men made popular and black men took and put in their own, they put their own spin on it to make it look good? Travis Kelce popularized that? No, he didn't. I remember I had covered this in a Black History video that I made, and I said, what is up with people saying they getting the Travis Kelce haircut? What is up with people saying that this man made the fade famous? Ugh. And that's why I'm going back to this too. And that's why y'all Nicolandria stands out there. I'm wagging my fingers at y'all. Y'all could go ahead and stand them all you want to. If it come out that Nick has some racist incident in the past, or he was using Olandria to get famous, I don't want to hear nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. Listen, we can appreciate something, but we don't have to glorify it. If a person who is not black comes into a black circle or comes into our area and they want to party with us, obviously look at them with the side eye. You'd be like, why do you want to come here? Are you trying to steal something and leave? All right, that's the first thing you gotta do. But if they want to party with us, well, at your own discretion, hey, join the party. But just make sure it is coming from a genuine, earnest place, and they're not trying to rip off our culture and take it back to theirs. That's why the term woke done got colonized. That's why the term swag done got colonized. Everything we do. I bet you they're going to be saying purr next. All the black female words, all that stuff. It just gets ripped. I see non-black people saying period now. They be like, period. I'm like, what you know about period? Who you learn that from? It's like Aquafina with the black scent. Aquafina is talking like that because she heard black people talking like that. She's like, oh, this is a cool accent. Aquafina don't talk like that. Aquafina puts on that black accent as a costume in order to act, in order to get acting gigs, in order to sound funny. Travis Kelce did the same thing. He was dating all these black women. It was a fad. I would like to say fetish, but that might rub people the wrong way. He had his time, mess around with all the sisters, didn't want to commit to anyone. Now he would Taylor Swift and want to commit to her. Now, playing devil's advocate, some people could say, well, she is uber rich. She's very wealthy. So maybe he just wants a piece of that. I don't care. Either way, it's not cool how he done played in black people's face. But you know what? He ain't playing black people's face. Black people allowed it.
Yes.
That's why I never praised Travis Kelce. I'll just like, okay, it's just a white boy that's dancing. Okay. But I'm not going to sit over here and fawn over that. Ugh, that's it. Done with that rant. Let's get into updates. All right, y'all. So I like to say it is a good day in the neighborhood. We are in the beautiful month of September right now. Wonderful month. Chemistry Productions, AVIOT's the official podcast of Chemistry Productions, celebrated its, what is it? It's 11th birthday yesterday, September 1st. So I actually started Chemistry Productions with my cousin, Jay Random, who was on this podcast. He would pop in from time to time. And I had started Chemistry Productions as a music record label because I was doing music at the time. And so I had started it. I said, all right, let's call it Chemistry Productions. And I made music under that banner. Later on, I was thinking about how I wanted to focus on how music really impacts people in both positive and negative ways. I was looking at music therapy. I was looking at just brain patterns, how it can affect mood, how it can affect behavior. And I was like, I want to get more into an educational space. So I said, let's have Chemistry Productions be an educational platform, and then we'll just happen to produce music under that educational platform. Years later, Chemistry Productions turns into a media education company. We focus on more than music. We focus on film, television. We focus on pop culture, social media. We focus on media. And I'm glad that it turned out to be this way. And I'm glad that I have a platform with AVIOT, the AVIOT podcast, where I can just speak my mind freely. And then I can make videos speaking on different topics that I made via the AVIOT podcast. So happy 11th birthday to Chemistry Productions. One of these years, I got to have a big celebration, definitely. But happy 11th birthday to Chemistry Productions. So happy we're here. Look at what we've built. We have thousands of supporters, followers on different platforms, whether it be YouTube, it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and beyond.
Yes, sir.
I'm very happy with what we have built. And I'm going to continue to make content. I'm going to continue to speak my mind. I'm going to continue to add my voice to different matters out there. So we have an article that was posted last week via medium.com that was speaking on this glorification of thugs as romantic partners. The week prior, we talked about Lil Nas X. And this week, I'm working on another piece that is speaking on Black people, Black on Black crime, this whole Black on Black crime narrative, Black people being violent towards one another, and how that's a myth, this whole Black on Black crime narrative. Crime is just crime. Everyone commits crime. It's not Black people are inherently more violent than anybody else. So I look forward to finishing that article and putting that out there. I also want to move on to making long form videos where I'm speaking about a topic at length, and then I'll probably chop it up and make those into little clips that I'll share via social media and beyond. So I'm happy. I'm happy where we are. It's a very good day. Now, with that being said, let's get into the topic of the day. So I believe it was my last podcast episode, but I've said it recently at least. But I was talking about Cardi B, hip hop artist Cardi B. She stays in the news for good stuff. She stays in the news for new hit that's out. She stays in the news for maybe some controversy. Recently, she's been on trial for an incident that occurred in 2018, which involved Imani Ellis, who was a former building security guard. So she was suing Cardi B for an alleged assault that happened between them at a medical office where Ellis was employed. Cardi B was pregnant at the time, and she was on her way to see her obstetrician. And so she denied that she ever attacked Ellis. And it was found out recently, I think today, that Cardi B was not liable in attacking Ellis from that incident back in 2018.
And now for a quick commercial break.
Hey guys, as you can hear, we are unapologetic in our opinions. We may be politically incorrect or possibly wrong, but don't knock us for being ourselves and saying what many are too afraid to admit out loud. Anyways, if you have any thoughts or questions about our show, email us at chemistryproductions@gmail.com. That's K3MISTRY productions@gmail.com. We'll be sure to address whatever you have to say.
Yeah, I had touched when I had spoke about this incident before, I touched on the fact that a lot of people think that they can just sue a celebrity and just get money out of them, and that celebrities are targets. They have lives, but that doesn't mean that they should just have their livelihood, money stripped from them left and right. You have celebrities that will settle because they don't want to deal with the court case. They don't want to deal with the reputation that they would end up receiving as a result of these court cases. So they just settle out of court, make sure it never hits headlines to begin with. Because here's the fact of the matter, even though Cardi B was found innocent, not liable in harming Ellis, there are people out there that will say, well, Cardi B probably did it. So pretty much that is a stain on her name. That I don't like. An accusation can lead to somebody having a tarnished reputation for the rest of their life.
That's correct.
Think about false rape allegations. Those do exist more than you think, where people are falsely accused of forcing themselves onto a man or a woman. And even if they're innocent, found innocent, that stigma still sticks on them. An example that always comes to mind, this woman by the name of Nikki Jovino. She accused some football players at Sacred Heart, or athletes, I should say, at Sacred Heart, black athletes, Nikki is white, of raping her. Turns out, I think she was involved with someone. She didn't want that person to find out that she was that type of woman that deals with multiple guys at the same time, and she lied. And as a result, these guys ended up, I think, getting kicked out of school, and their reputations are ruined, but it was based on a lie. Cardi B came out and she spoke to press conference. She held a press conference in which she said, hey, listen, I'm not going to be tried anymore. I understand, like, I have my faults, but I didn't do anything. And the next person that sues me for some bogus allegation, I'm going to countersue them. I'm going to countersue them for even worse.
Yeah, even if I'm in my deathbed, I swear to God, I will say it in my deathbed. I did not touch that woman. I did not touch that girl. I didn't lay my hands on that girl. And with that being said, this time around, I'm going to be nice. The next person to try to do a frivolous lawsuit against me, I'm going to countersue. And I'm going to make you pay. Because this is not okay. I think people have like this misinterpretations of celebrities, like it's like, oh, well, we can ask for this and they're gonna settle. You don't work at home and you don't work all day and you don't work for your money to give out your money. Mm-hmm. So don't ever think that I'm just gonna give you my money that I work hard for. I don't lay in bed all day. I work all day, and I work hard for my money, for my kids, and for people I take care of. So don't you ever think that you're gonna sue me and I'm just gonna settle and just give me my money. It's not gonna happen. I do also want fans at home, though, not to find their social media, her family's social media, her social media, and bother her. I hope that this is something that I leave behind, that she leave behind. Don't go bother her. Don't be talking about her. Don't be talking about how she look. Don't call her no nasty names. Let's just put this behind.
I like that. Cardi B standing on business. She's saying, stop playing with my name. Stop wasting my time. Because think about it. During these times when she's going to court, she could be creating new music. She could be doing guest appearances. She is losing money by going to court. This is a waste of her time. She has children to take care of. She has a life. So any false allegations that are made against her, this is complicating her life. This is putting her life on pause. What I also liked, what Cardi B said, she was fair. She said, listen, let's put this behind us. To my fans, don't go and try to find this woman's social media or her family's social media and attack her. Leave it alone. That is a responsible celebrity. That is a responsible public figure. There are so many fan bases that go out there and they're attacking, they're harming people they don't like that say something negative about a celebrity that they do like or a public figure that they do like. Cardi B is being responsible and saying, do not harm this woman. Do not do anything to mess up this woman's livelihood right now. She made a wrong decision. She made a false accusation against me. Let's put it behind us. That is good. Think about the Beehive or the Bayhive. Think about Nicki Minaj's fans, the Barbs. Think about the Swifties, Taylor Swift's fans. These people will go out and harass others who they feel speak negatively about that celebrity who they like. Because this whole parasocial relationship that I was talking about before, it exists. People think that, oh, well, you can't talk bad about someone I love, so I'm going to attack them. That shouldn't be the case. So I definitely applaud Cardi B for that. That is being responsible. But let's hope that she doesn't have to go back to court anytime soon. And let's hope that people stop. I don't think people are going to stop falsely accusing celebrities of things, but let's hope for Cardi's sake that she doesn't have any more false allegations made against her. With that being said, all right, y'all, this was a good podcast episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. Short, sweet, and to the point. I appreciate y'all hearing me rant and rave, and we will see y'all next time. Peace.
So go a little something like this. That's AVIOT.